Welcome back to the deep dive. If you're looking for, well, maybe not a shortcut, but a clearer map to understanding how profound personal change might actually work and how that scales up, you are definitely in the right place today. We are getting into the foundational thinking behind a really ambitious initiative focused on human potential.
Yeah, really ambitious is right.
Specifically, we're looking at the ideas laid out by Dr. Chetana Kripalu. She's the founder and CEO of the Angel Wing LLC, and importantly, our whole discussion today, everything we're unpacking, comes directly from the preface she wrote for a key technical volume. That volume is called The Foundations of Angel Wing LLC. And its stated aim is pretty hefty: to unravel the detailed constructs of self-mastery, personal transformation, and ultimately human upliftment.
And it's really key to grasp that this preface, it's not just an introduction. It functions as both a mission statement and like a philosophical blueprint all at once. Dr. Kripalu isn't just giving, helpful tips for self-improvement here. She's outlining a whole systemic methodology. The goal is radical human evolution.
Radical human evolution. Okay.
Yeah. So the big question, the thing we're really wrestling with today, it's fundamentally about the mechanics, isn't it? What are the actual processes, the mechanisms that Dr. Kripalu believes can effectively take us from, say, basic self-awareness where most of us are, and transform that into what she calls a state of unprecedented consciousness? That's really our mission today, to understand how she proposes this happens.
And that core intention she defines in the preface, it sets an incredibly high standard. The whole initiative, she writes, is made up of multifaceted elements designed and continually refined, with the explicit intention of nurturing human evolution. That word nurturing really stands out to me.
It does. It suggests something careful, systematic, like cultivation, right? Not just hoping for growth, but actively fostering it.
Exactly. Deliberate, ongoing, and adaptive. And that ties into the other phrase you highlighted there.
The continually refined part.
Yeah, continuing to refine. What does that signal to you?
Well, it tells me the organization itself is framed as a learning entity. It's live, it's adapting. It suggests the methods themselves have to stay dynamic. They have to evolve alongside the very evolutionary goal they're trying to achieve.
So the system learns as the participants learn?
Kind of. It means it's not some fixed, static doctrine. It's presented as an engineered system designed specifically to drive change forward, and that system itself must be capable of change.
Okay, so let's dig into the trajectory she outlines. Because Dr. Kripalu defines a very clear path, like steps on a ladder. The Angel Wing mission, as she lays it out, starts by helping people move from just basic self-awareness.
Which is the starting point for everyone, presumably.
Right. From basic self-awareness to greater self-mastery. That's step one. Then mastery is meant to lead to personal transformation. That's framed as the intermediate goal.
A midpoint, okay.
And then the ultimate aim, the peak of this process, is the upliftment of humanity.
It's quite a hierarchy she's built there. Beautifully designed, actually. It implies that the work you do on yourself, that individual effort, directly contributes to the collective good.
So individual success fuels collective success.
Precisely. But that self-mastery stage feels critical. It's the internal turning point. Because if you just achieve self-mastery and stop there, well, you're a more functional individual, sure. But the system, as she describes it, seems to need more.
Needs that transformation to be leveraged outwards.
Exactly. It requires that the transformed individual then participates in that larger goal, the upliftment part. It has to move beyond the self.
Okay, but almost immediately after setting up this ambitious ladder, Dr. Kripalu brings in a dose of, maybe, realism. She talks about the flexibility of the journey. She specifically says that achieving this purpose can take various routes. Why build this precise mechanism and then immediately say the path isn't fixed? Seems a bit contradictory at first glance.
I don't see it as contradictory, actually. I think it's essential. Think about it. If the ultimate goal is evolution, how can the pathway be rigid? Evolution itself is about variation and adaptation.
Ah, okay, so a single fixed path would actually stifle the very thing it's trying to achieve.
Exactly. The moment you impose one single dogmatic route, you shut down individual variability. You ignore the massive differences in people's psychology, their physical state, their life experiences.
Right. People start from different places, learn differently.
Precisely. So by acknowledging diverse paths, the philosophy respects that individuality. It suggests the methodology is intended to be personalized in its application, even if the goal at higher consciousness is universal.
That makes the whole framework feel much more robust, actually. It can hold both the structure and the individual's unique context.
Yeah, it needs that flexibility to work for real people.
And this flexibility seems directly connected to another core belief she emphasizes: innate potential. The entire philosophy seems built on this idea that participants already possess the potential. They just need to unleash their inherent healing and energetic potentials.
And the kicker is, she states this is true regardless of their current state. Physical, mental, emotional, doesn't matter.
That feels huge. It bypasses the usual gatekeeping, doesn't it? Like, you don't need to be ready or worthy.
It's a pretty radical claim. It says the capacity for deep change, these healing and energetic potentials, isn't something you earn or build from scratch. It's intrinsic. It's already there.
Like it's part of the human blueprint.
Exactly. And the program's role, then, isn't to install something new, but more like activating what's already hardwired into us, like flipping a switch on potential that's been dormant.
So we're not installing new software. We're running a defrag and maybe unlocking some hidden features on the existing operating system.
That's a decent analogy, yeah. And this perspective, it does echo some very old wisdom traditions, doesn't it?
It really does. You hear echoes of traditions that view the human being as fundamentally whole or already enlightened, just covered up by layers of conditioning.
And Dr. Kripalu explicitly makes that connection. She talks about the echoes of tradition. She notes how various spiritual paths, religious traditions, meditation practices, they often echo this deeper realization or advancement, just using their own unique language and methods.
So it's not just paying respect to the past. It's like she's anchoring this modern approach in a long history of human searching.
I think that's exactly it. It positions the angel wing within that lineage, that millennia-long quest for higher consciousness or deeper understanding.
It suggests the goal itself isn't new. Humans have been striving for this for ages, but perhaps the methodology she's proposing, this structured, maybe more systematic approach, is what's tailored for our current time.
Yes. It's like providing modern scaffolding for perennial wisdom. The challenge today is different, right? If ancient mystics achieved certain states through, say, years of isolated practice, how do you facilitate that kind of advancement within the complexity of modern life? Systematically, efficiently.
You need a structure, a mechanism.
Right, a mechanism that can deliver the necessary understanding, the necessary harmonization to unlock that innate potential without requiring you to, retreat to a cave for 20 years. And it needs to work fast enough to actually impact society.
Which brings us neatly to the structure itself. Let's talk about how this whole thing is built. Dr. Kripalu describes the organization as a harmonious mechanism. That phrase really jumps out. It's not just organized structure or company setup. Harmonious mechanism. What does that imply?
Well, it implies something beyond just efficiency. Harmony suggests a deep level of interconnectedness and synergy, doesn't it? She mentions it's built on diverse arms and programs that interconnect.
So not separate departments doing their own thing.
Exactly the opposite, I think. In most organizations, you get silos. Different departments might even compete. But harmonious mechanism suggests every single part, psychological programs, physical elements, educational components, they're all designed to actively support and reinforce each other.
Like gears meshing perfectly.
Or like an ecosystem. The success of one part intrinsically depends on all the others working well. This interconnectedness is structural, ensuring the whole system pulls together towards those escalating goals we talked about: mastery, transformation, upliftment.
And this holistic approach, the synergy, it's designed to produce a specific immediate result, right? She calls it a profound state of well-being.
Yes, and it's positioned not just as a pleasant side effect, but as something essential, foundational.
Foundational, meaning you need it before you can move on.
Absolutely, that's how I rate it. The profound state of well-being is the necessary groundwork. You can't realistically aim for higher consciousness if your basic physical or psychological state is in chaos.
Makes sense. You need a stable platform to launch from.
Precisely. Well-being acts as that stable platform. And from that platform, the individual can then begin the real work, laying the groundwork for their ascension towards higher consciousness, which, in turn, is meant to drive further mental and spiritual evolution.
So internal harmony first, accessing higher states second.
Got it. Something else I find really interesting is how transparent she is about the framework itself. Dr. Kripalu defines the current organizational structure as the bridge to ultimate goals.
Yeah, that's a really crucial philosophical point she makes there.
Why bridge? What does that signify?
Well, a bridge is fundamentally a means to an end, isn't it? It gets you from one place to another. It's not the destination itself.
So defining the structure as a bridge prevents the method itself from becoming the end goal, Prevents it from becoming idolized.
I think so. And importantly, she immediately follows that by acknowledging the framework may require future refinements.
Which loops back to that continually refined idea it's a living system. It is. A living, adaptable system. Think of it like a highly engineered bridge, maybe one that's constantly being monitored, stress-tested, upgraded based on the traffic it's carrying.
The traffic being the evolving participants.
Exactly. If the goal is evolution, the delivery system has to be capable of evolving too. This avoids the trap of a dynamic process getting stuck in static organizational rules.
That's quite elegant, actually. It builds in a feedback loop.
It seems to. As participants reach higher states, their experiences presumably inform how the bridge needs to be refined. It keeps the methodology relevant to their needs, which are becoming more complex. It maintains dynamic integrity.
But even with this sophisticated, adaptable structure, the onus for change still seems to rest firmly on the individual. She writes that every participant is encouraged to embark on their individual journey, stressing self-direction.
Yes, and that creates a necessary, I think, creative tension. You have this advanced, harmonious mechanism, the bridge designed for effectiveness, but it doesn't do the work for you. The individual has to provide the forward momentum.
So you can't just sign up and expect to be transformed passively.
Doesn't sound like it. The self-direction part ensures the individual isn't just a recipient, but an active cultivator of their own potential. They use the structure, the organization's tools, but only as leverage, as amplification for their own effort.
Without that personal drive, that commitment to enhancing your own well-being, the whole mechanism just sits there, however well-designed it might be.
It remains inert. Exactly. The engine needs fuel, and the fuel is the individual's commitment.
Okay, so let's talk about the tools. The specific approaches used to help generate that internal momentum. The program is described as integrative, biopsychospiritual, and it starts explicitly with the mind-body-brain connection. Dr. Kripalu highlights the intricate link between mind and body and mind and brain. That seems foundational.
It absolutely grounds the whole philosophy in, well, empirical reality, doesn't it?
Yeah.
By starting there, by acknowledging those intricate links, they can't just offer a purely spiritual path that ignores our biology or a purely psychological one that ignores the body or the actual neural hardware.
It forces a multidisciplinary approach from the get-go.
It necessitates it. Yeah.
Which naturally leads to the next point, the need for a comprehensive psychological component. If transformation is the goal, then dealing with our psychological stuff, past traumas, limiting beliefs, cognitive habits, that becomes non-negotiable.
Right. That psychological work is like, well, it's the necessary dismantling. You have to take apart the caterpillar's structure, psychologically speaking, before the butterfly can emerge.
So it's not just about positive thinking, it's about deep structural reorganization inside.
Seems like it. Ensuring the journey isn't just intellectual agreement, but a genuine shift in the participant's internal world.
And she mentions this psychological work is supported by a significant psychoeducational aspect.
Ah, yes, the psychoeducational piece. This feels really key.
Why key? What does it do?
Well, you described it earlier as the user manual for the self. I like that. It complements the physical and physiological work. The stated aim is empowering participants to connect with their minds and the practical application, enabling them to truly understand the relationship between their thoughts and their brain function.
Okay, unpack that. Understanding the relationship between thoughts and brain function, how does that empower someone?
This could be the most critical mechanism Dr. Kripalu points to. It's the direct operational link between your subjective experience, your thoughts, feelings, and the objective hardware, your brain. If you can actually educate someone on how their thought patterns, whether they're positive, negative, repetitive, creative, how those patterns literally map onto and reinforce specific neural pathways and functional states in their physical brain.
Then you give them real agency over the process.
Radical agency. It reframes thinking itself. It's not just this passive thing happening in your head. It becomes an active biological process you can influence.
It moves way beyond just telling someone think positive thoughts. It shows them the actual neurobiological levers they can pull.
Exactly. When someone truly grasps that relationship, they realize managing their thoughts isn't just a mental trick. It's like performing microsurgery on their own neurology. It's neurological engineering, in a way.
Wow. Okay.
And that level of understanding, that psychoeducational empowerment, is what Dr. Kripalu suggests promotes creativity and individual evolution. You're no longer just subject to your thoughts. You're actively shaping your internal architecture, and thus your potential.
That sounds incredibly powerful, but also potentially quite complex to grasp,
Yeah.
which might be why she uses the two wings metaphor.
Ah, the two wings. Yes, it's a very effective analogy, isn't it?
How does it work in this context?
It's simple and visual. A bird needs both its wings to fly, to soar. One wing alone isn't enough.
Right.
So applying that for a participant to reach those great heights, the ascension, the unprecedented consciousness, all the components have to work together in harmony. The biological, the psychological, the spiritual.
So if you're really developed spiritually, let's say, but you neglect the biological wing, maybe through poor health, bad sleep, ignoring your brain's basic needs.
You can't soar. You're unbalanced. The system won't achieve liftoff.
And conversely, if you're physically optimized, but the psychological wing is damaged maybe from unexamined trauma or deep-seated limiting beliefs.
Same result, grounded. The whole system needs to function harmoniously. Both wings strong and synchronized.
So achieving that ultimate state, that ascension, is directly tied to the level of harmony you can create between these different aspects of yourself.
That seems to be the core message. The individual needs to ensure both wings are healthy and working together. And the angel wings mechanism, the structure, is designed to provide the tools and understanding needed for that synchronization.
It really drives home why that integrative approach, bio, psycho, spiritual, isn't just a nice feature, but absolutely mandatory for the stated goal.
It's the harmonious mechanism principle applied right down to the individual level. The philosophy argues that for the part, the person, to reach its potential, its own internal subsystems, mind, body, brain, must achieve harmony. It mirrors the requirement for harmony in the larger organization.
Okay, let's shift perspective now. From the internal mechanics to the grand scale of change. Dr. Kripalu uses another powerful metaphor here, the butterfly metaphor for personal transformation. And this isn't just about making small improvements, is it? This sounds like total overhaul.
That's the crucial distinction, I think. She likens transformation to the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly. And we need to remember what actually happens in that chrysalis.
It's not just growing wings.
Not at all. The caterpillar essentially dissolves. It liquefies its previous structure before reforming into something completely different. It's a profound, total change.
Yeah.
Not just biological, but in this context, psychological and spiritual too.
And the language she uses is quite striking. She calls the shift a biopsycho-spiritual evolution and development, describing it as a complete metamorphosis. What does that even mean for a person to undergo a complete metamorphosis?
It implies something incredibly profound. It suggests the core self, the way you operate, how you perceive reality, how you interact with the world, all of it is fundamentally altered. The person who emerges from this process theoretically would have capacities, perspectives, ways of being that were entirely unavailable to their previous caterpillar self.
So the butterfly, the image of flight and beauty, it symbolizes this potential for entirely new functional states.
Exactly. New abilities, maybe new forms of creativity, a whole new way of engaging with life, emerging once those innate potentials previously locked away start to manifest is a promise of radical emergence.
And this leads right back to that huge objective stated earlier, achieving an unprecedented level of consciousness.
It has to, right? If the transformation is truly a complete metamorphosis, then the resulting state of consciousness couldn't just be better or more aware. It would have to be fundamentally different, unprecedented.
Otherwise, it's just a slightly improved caterpillar.
Precisely. An unprecedented level of consciousness suggests a fundamental shift, maybe in perception, capability, maybe even connection to others, to the environment. Dr. Kripalu keeps reinforcing the sheer scale of this potential throughout the preface. The program is designed to aid in reaching this maximum potential.
Okay, so here's the massive question then. If individuals are undergoing this radical internal metamorphosis, how do you scale that? How does that translate into widespread societal change? The philosophy has to bridge that gap from the individual's chrysalis to the collective community. She calls it societal upliftment through collaboration.
And the key word there is collaboration. The scaling strategy isn't about the angel wing trying to do everything itself. Instead, it forms partnerships with various organizations, groups, and individuals.
Which acknowledges the reality of societal change, right? It's complex. No single entity can tackle huge systemic issues alone, no matter how effective their individual methods are.
Exactly. This partnership model aims to weave the transformation into the existing social fabric.
And the goal isn't just helping individuals or even families in isolation. It's explicitly about supporting whole communities.
Yes, that ensures the individual change doesn't just stay isolated. It gets integrated back, contributing to the health and resilience of the community, hopefully creating a kind of critical mass effect.
And the ultimate societal aim derived from all this, guiding society towards sustainable progress and prosperity.
And notice that word sustainable. It's important.
Why sustainable?
Well, think about it. If progress and prosperity are built upon individuals who have undergone this deep internal metamorphosis, achieving self-mastery, harmony, well-being, that foundation seems inherently more stable, doesn't it?
More stable than prosperity based on, say, volatile external factors or competitive dynamics?
That seems to be the implication. Prosperity rooted in deep personal balance and mastery might be less prone to boom and bust, more resilient. It directly connects the inner work of individuals to measurable, lasting stability and flourishing for the whole society.
So the self-mastery of the few, or hopefully the many, becomes the stabilizing bedrock for the collective.
That's the vision, yes. The micro-level transformation fuels the macro-level upliftment.
It really reframes personal evolution, doesn't it? It stops being just a personal quest or a luxury and starts looking like a societal necessity, a prerequisite for sustainable community health and progress.
The macro goal becomes entirely dependent on those micro-mechanisms working effectively, harmoniously.
Which brings us right back full circle to the very beginning, the importance of that initial framework. That harmonious, adaptable mechanism designed specifically to unlock innate potential. The organization trying to mirror the very evolution it wants to foster.
It all has to work together. The individual, the mechanism, the community.
Well, this deep dive into just the preface of Dr. Kripalu'S work reveals really quite a stunning architectural vision. It's complex. We see this philosophy built on two parallel tracks moving together. On one track, there's the incredibly detailed, rigorous, integrated mechanism for individual transformation.
The synchronized two wings needed for flight.
Right, demanding that harmony and leading to that potentially total identity shift of the butterfly metamorphosis. And then on the other track, running alongside it, is the equally ambitious collaborative scope aiming for community and ultimately societal upliftment.
And I think the core takeaway, for me at least, is the consistent emphasis on mechanism over mystery. Dr. Kripalu grounds this whole ambitious vision in a core belief that profound personal change isn't just luck or magic. It's achievable, but it's achievable once the underlying mechanisms are understood and managed.
Especially that intricate link she highlights between our thoughts and our actual brain function.
Exactly. Understanding and harmonizing that relationship seems to be the key. The whole organizational structure, the bridge, is ultimately just there to deliver that understanding and help unleash the potential that she believes is already inherent within us.
Indeed. Which leads us to a final thought, something for you, our listeners, to maybe ponder. Dr. Kripalu defines the organization structure as the bridge and explicitly states it might need future refinements. Okay. But she defines the personal change as a complete metamorphosis. So, if the traveler crossing the bridge, the individual participant, is truly undergoing this complete metamorphosis, dissolving limitations, emerging with genuinely unprecedented levels of consciousness, new capacities, doesn't that imply that the bridge itself might need more than just refinement? Might the structure itself eventually need to undergo its own radical metamorphosis, perhaps dissolving and reforming entirely, to even comprehend, let alone serve, travelers who've reached a state beyond what the original builders could fully imagine?
A structure designed to facilitate the unprecedented must ultimately be prepared to become unprecedented itself. That's quite a thought.
Precisely. It will be fascinating to see how that philosophical tension plays out in practice. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the foundations of evolution, as envisioned by Dr. Kripalu.